boy that I want nothing but success for. And he has all the tools. He could play defense. He can shoot. He could get to the basket. He could pass it. He had the best. He was the best at bringing the ball up last night. He had the best, connection with Jared Allen. He was giving what those alley-oops Spencer Dinwiddie was throwing. Who does he think? Lob City is over, nigga. What are you doing? All right. Do what Spencer does. Dong dong, Siri. Stop throwing them fucking lobs, Siri. The only point that mattered from last night is none of this shit I just said. The only point that matters from last night is that Kevin Durant is going to be added to that. Take the L. Yo, Taurean Prince had a great game. I still would subscribe to the fact that he's the reason why we didn't win it. He came out in the third quarter and just, he redeemed himself and proved I was probably killing him too early. But it's not about what he can do. It's about what he can't do. He cannot help on Cat. He cannot even rotate out to Cat when Cat's at the three-point line. He got a lot of rebounds last night, but he was rebounding misses. I mean, like, defensive rebound. There was times in that first quarter I felt like the season was over because it just was too obvious. It was too clear what the problem is. Nobody can guard Karl Anthony Towns one-on-one. Nobody. Can't be done. However, it happened. So, you have to have another big. You need another physical player that's going to just nullify the Embiids, the Anthony Towns, these bigs who are dynamic, can shoot, can score. Like, you can't just throw Jared Allen out there and say, well, that's your job. Good. Certain players are not going to be stopped with one person. That's why they're stars. And the Nets have no counterattack or no flexibility to send someone else like a Robert Covington. He's mid. He's mediocre. But he's good enough defensively to play a 4 and a 3 competently. Long enough to give, he was disruptive to Jared Allen and he'd lose the ball. Right? So I think Bam, broke it down beautifully, right? Maybe we are just setting ourselves up to go get the 4 because he believes, with my good brain, I believe Sean Marks can't possibly not know we have a problem. it's not even really Atkinson's fault, except that this is part of Atkinson's game plan, and it's a bad game plan. We're going to always be playing from behind. We're not going to excel until it's those times that you're just going to run up and down the court and just score. Like, you have to be able to get a grind out bucket every now and then. You add Aaron Gordon to this team is playing for the finals. You don't add Aaron Gordon to this team, I don't care if KD is playing. Because even if KD scores on the other end every time, you're not stopping Giannis. So yeah, it's opening night. I'm dreaming big. I'm thinking about the finals and the team that we want to be. And I'm thinking about the fact that we don't have time to be playing with Kevin Durant's career. Kevin got 3 years of being the best basketball player on earth. He could do it. He's in that conversation. I think this is Giannis's era, if I'm being honest. But I'm not being biased to say that KD is in the discussion. We can't bullshit with KD's time. Sean Marks, you got to get this team right. If not, what are we doing? I don't want the participation trophy. You don't hang Eastern Conference Finals banners. What are we doing this for? We want to win a championship. Can Taurean Prince be your starting four, or start even when Kevin Durant comes back? When you need to make that change, that's going to send a second big on Embiid in Game 7 of a series that you can't stop him. Or are you going to just hang Jared Allen out there on an island by himself and say, yeah, go do what nobody else can do in the league? It's not rocket science. I'm no genius for pointing out the obvious. I recognize that. Right? It's nothing against Taurean Prince. He's a dope player. He just doesn't solve any of the problems that the Nets have. The Nets need to be able to finish a layup, to dunk on the end of a fast break. And you know what? To Taurean Prince's defense, he did some of that. But let's not pretend that he didn't blow like 3 layups. Sometimes driving to the basket, he looks horrible. The stats say it. Our eyeballs say it. But I get it. It's early. We don't know what he's going to be. No. I know that Taurean Prince, like I know Kyle Korver, cannot guard Joel Embiid. That can't be the game plan. Zach Lowe said it. It's like it's not even like a crazy idea. It's just if it happened tomorrow, everyone would be like, yeah. Every basketball pundit would be going, yeah. Makes sense. This can't be the game plan, Kenny. And that's my problem with Kenny. When I talk shit about Kenny on Twitter, people take it as like it's someone who just hates Kenny. I'm the one that advocated for Kenny's hiring. I was losing my mind in fear that Sean Marks was going to fuck that up. But he hired the right guy. Like, Kenny was the guy you hire. For what they're doing, he was the guy you hire. But the question in my mind, and every time I see these lineups that obviously are not going to work, I think to myself, Eve, this cannot win a championship. So even my boy Bam was saying, Kenny Atkinson knows, Sean Marks knows. They're just in talent acquisition mode still. Okay, it's time to get off that. It's time to get out of that mode now. Do not waste time trying to look good on paper as with assets and flexibility. You got to do that. But right now, you are bullshitting with Kevin Durant's prime. That was why I was scared to get Kevin Durant. It's because I fell for this okie doke many times. An over the 30 basketball player succumbs to not just the physical wear and tear of playing 2 decades of basketball and running and pounding every joint in your body, but when you're as successful as Kevin Durant, it has to come from somewhere else. You have to be you have to be somewhat, off as a person to want to still compete at the highest level. And what I've come to learn about Kevin Durant is that he's off. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm mad as hell about that L we took last night. That was an unnecessary L. That team is not as good as we are. We bust their ass. But because of our refusal to change, our stubborn ass coach, which makes me wonder if Kenny can lead us to the promised land. It's a fair thing to question Nets fans. Stop being soft. It's okay I don't want us to be like the Knicks. The Knicks, after their organization whoops their ass, they come back like abused housewives. Well, she loved me. She only beat me because she loved me. Officer, take the handcuffs off. Don't do anything. She loves me. I'm the officer knocking on your door, asking you, have you been abused tonight? How did you get those marks under your eye? I fell. That's how Knicks fans analyze basketball. Say the truth. You too, Nets fan, be mad about some shit. The court looks horrible. Say that shit. They're lucky I'm not sitting courtside right now. I spit on it. I hate the new court. I hate the graffiti jerseys. That just proves, once again, the rich white guy from the Upper West Side gets the graffiti job. Meanwhile, starving artists are late with their hostel rent payment. They're going to lose their cot. There's real graffiti artists who's living that life right here in Brooklyn. They should have did Basquiat. If they were going to do that, do Basquiat. At least he's from Brooklyn. But say what you feel about your goddamn team. It's your team. Don't be a cult member. And I know I'm unreasonable, but I have unreasonable expectations. This is about winning the championship. What we saw last night, that 50 that Kyrie gave you, take a step back from it. Pull the screen away from your face and look at that 50 and say to yourself, we are eventually going to add Kevin Durant to that. Kevin motherfucking Durant. Yo, in the next segment, we're going to break down the Knicks. We're going to break down the Nets, and my boy Bam is coming on. All right.